Hello, I am Dr. Steve Johnson. Let me begin with a situation that many addiction counselors have seen. A person in recovery has been doing well for several weeks or months. They've stabilized, they're not in crisis, and things are relatively calm. Then one evening they find themselves alone. Nothing urgent is happening. Nothing terrible has happened. They are simply sitting there feeling restless and bored. Their mind begins to wander. They start remembering how alcohol or drugs used to make the evening more interesting, more stimulating, more engaging, and before long, the thought appears maybe just once. For many people in recovery, relapse does not begin with emotional crisis. It begins with boredom. In this video, I want to explain why boredom can be such a powerful relapse trigger, what is happening from a neuropsychology perspective, and how Rational Emotive Behavior Therapy, or REBT, offers practical tools for addressing boredom before it leads to relapse. To understand boredom in recovery, we have to understand something about the brain's dopamine reward system. Dopamine is often described as the brain's pleasure chemical, but that description is incomplete. Dopamine is really about motivation, anticipation, and engagement. It is what drives us to pursue novelty, curiosity, challenge, and meaningful goals. Substances such as alcohol, stimulants, opioids, and other drugs can produce very large increases in dopamine activity. Over time, the brain adapts to these high levels of stimulation. As a result, ordinary experiences, things like hobbies, relationships, or everyday activities, may begin to feel less rewarding or less stimulating. Some researchers describe this as a kind of reward deficiency state. The person may not feel severely depressed, but life can begin to feel flat, dull, or unstimulating. When boredom appears in that context, the brain may automatically remember something that once solved that problem very quickly: the substance. Relapse in this situation is often less about emotional pain and more about the brain searching for stimulation. Rational emotive behavior. Therapy provides a very helpful way to understand this process. Ellis described how emotional and behavioral reactions follow the ABC model. A is the activating event, B is the beliefs about the event, C is the emotional and behavioral consequences. In boredom-related relapse, the activating event may be something very simple. I have nothing to do. I feel restless. Everything feels boring tonight. But the real driver of distress often lies in the beliefs about boredom. For example, I can't stand feeling bored. Life shouldn't be this dull. I need stimulation right now. Ellis described these beliefs as forms of frustration, intolerance. The person is not just experiencing boredom. They are demanding that boredom must not exist. When those beliefs take hold, the emotional consequences may include irritability, restlessness, impulsivity. Craving the substance then appears to offer a quick solution, at least temporarily. Albert Ellis frequently advised people to develop what he called consuming passions. This advice reflected a very important insight. Substances often function as artificial passions. They create anticipation, stimulation, and emotional intensity. When substances are removed, many individuals experience what could be called a motivational vacuum. Recovery, therefore, involves more than simply removing substances. It involves building a life that competes with them. Consuming passions might include creative activities, physical challenges, intellectual pursuits, community involvement, spiritual practices, or meaningful service to others. These kinds of pursuits stimulate the brain's reward system in healthier and more sustainable ways. They also help individuals develop an identity that extends beyond addiction. REBT offers several practical approaches for addressing boredom. Cognitive strategies. First, we challenge irrational beliefs about boredom. Instead of saying, I can't stand this boredom, a more rational belief might be, boredom is uncomfortable, but it is not unbearable. I can tolerate it and do something constructive. Instead of, I need stimulation right now. A healthier belief may be, I would prefer stimulation, but I don't absolutely need it. These cognitive shifts reduce impulsivity and help create psychological space before acting. Emotive strategies. REBT also uses emotional techniques such as imagery exercises, humor, role-playing, and experiential exercises. These methods help individuals change their emotional response to boredom. Instead of viewing boredom as an enemy, it can become a signal to seek engagement or creativity. Behavioral strategies. Behavioral strategies are particularly important. Individuals in recovery benefit from building structured activities such as hobbies, learning new skills, exercise, creative pursuits, social connection, and meaningful service. Often people in recovery must experiment with different activities before discovering what truly interests them. But over time, these activities can develop into passions that provide natural sources of stimulation and meaning. To support this process, I've created a simple activity and passion worksheet that helps individuals identify boredom triggers, explore new interests, and begin developing activities that could eventually become meaningful passions. The goal is to help people build a lifestyle where substances become unnecessary because life itself becomes engaging. Members of this YouTube channel can download that worksheet as part of the channel membership resources. Recovery is not only about avoiding substances, it is about building a life that is interesting, meaningful, and engaging. Boredom often signals that something important may be missing. Challenge, curiosity, purpose, or connection. When individuals develop passions that engage the mind and body, the brain's reward system begins to recover, and the pull of substances often becomes much weaker. Thank you for watching. The information presented in this video is provided for educational purposes only and is not a substitute for professional medical, psychological, or addiction treatment advice. If you or someone you love is struggling with substance use or mental health concerns, please consult a qualified healthcare professional or licensed mental health provider. Any lifestyle or exercise changes should also be discussed with a medical professional.